Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our, I think it might be our first webinar on a Thursday evening. And thank you for managing to change the date. I was out with our team last night, so thank you very much for doing that. Tonight we've got Ross Robertson and Emma Owen from the UK Agri-Tech Centre. Tonight's topic is bridging the gap between agri innovation and real world application. So I think without further ado, I'll hand you over to Ross and Emma, who can explain more about the Agri-Tech Centre, what it does and how it works with farmers for increasing. Well, they'll be able to tell you more because they know it a lot better than I do. So over to you guys. You need to remember to unmute.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going backwards through our slides again because we just ran through them, everybody. So to make sure, and I was still on slide 15 saying thank you. So that would have been the shortest webinar ever for you about bridging the gap. So I'll just do a quick intro into who I am. Emma will do one, and then we'll get on with the slide deck. So I'm Ross Robertson, as it says. I'm a farm technology specialist with UK Agri-Tech Centre. The main part of my role is to run our 23 farms in our farm network, who are privately owned farming businesses that we collaborate with to put research and development and commercial trials onto their farm, where we can test, trial, demonstrate products from very early stage TRL right the way up to commercialised products. As a part of that job also, I technically lead in these projects, so I could be working on something to do with strawberries, which we're not here to talk about in this chat today, right the way through to beef and sheep projects, dairy, beef, etc. So that's a bit about me. Emma?
Yep, I'm Emma Owen. I've been with the company for 6 months and I'm in the innovation team. So my role is livestock innovation and my background is in beef and sheep. Before this, I was mainly in policy, so I've got a good grounding of what's going on in agricultural policy sector as well. Yeah, so if we're happy to make a start.
I will share the screen and Emma's going to take it away.
Well.
Can I just check, Katie, can you see that, and Emma as well?
Yeah,
all
I can see that. Brilliant. So this evening we're going to be talking to you about bridging the gap between agri-innovation and real-world application, which is quite a big topic in itself. So hopefully we've done it some justice, but we would welcome any questions in the chat, and hopefully you've got the option at the end to raise your hand and ask any questions that you might have as well. Next slide, please, Ross.
Give it time, it is in Scotland.
Slow
try to get to Wales here.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit about who we are at the UK Agri-Tech Centre. So our mission is to accelerate the development and deployment of innovation across agri-tech and get that agri-tech on farm. So we're looking at addressing deep-rooted problems within the agricultural sector that increase profitability and efficiency on farm. And our vision is to have an agricultural sector that is among the world's most innovative, dynamic, resilient and sustainable, all through the development and application of agri-tech. So we're an independent business. We came together from legacy centres, so some you might have heard of, like CL and CHAP. And we're supported by Innovate UK, where a lot of our funding comes from. And we enable businesses to develop their innovations to be technically and commercially robust and work with farmers and growers to increase adoption. And Ross is going to tell you a little bit more about our farm network of farmers and growers who are at the forefront of agri-tech adoption as well.
So we'll add in the third part of this as well. So the third legacy company was Agri Epicenter, and this is where this farm network has come from. So it actually nicely flows into that. So UK Agri-Tech Centre as a whole, that shouldn't have done that. Sorry. Emma, you've put timers on these, obviously.
No.
So Agri-Tech Centre as a whole, we have 43 innovation facilities right across United Kingdom. So that's anything from research labs to our privately owned lab facilities or our hubs. We have the Southwest Dairy Development Centre, who a lot of you have probably heard of, that was created by Kingsay and Agri Epi at the very start down at beside Glastonbury. with Steenbo Farming Partnership. And then we also have, it says 22 there, but we've started counting it as 23 because one of the farms is actually two businesses rolled into one, which I can put the link on at the end. We actually have just released a docu-series on what we do with these farms using that farm there. So you'll see it coming live on social media. As a part of obviously us as an organization, there's obviously 150 different employees in the organization. That could be anything from finance, legal, right the way through to people like myself and Emma, who are working on the ground with farmers, looking at where the sectoral problems are and taking it back to industry to try and solve those problems, not allowing tech companies to come in with what they think is going to solve a problem when there isn't one there. So it's not this fancy piece of kit that's going to be a waste of money. We are trying to prove the point that there is a problem there, and we're taking that problem to the companies to create the tech, not the other way about. We've been working with and collaborate with over 470 businesses from SMEs to global corporations. So we do have an international interest in this. We do quite a lot of work in Canada, New Zealand, France, Spain. Where else have we got? A lot of work in sub-Sahara Africa, into South Africa itself, and across into Asia. So we do quite a lot of different things, and that could be anything from technology itself right the way through to genomics and biostimulants, etc. So there's quite a big range of the sector we'll look at, and we also dip, excuse the pun, into aquaculture. We have our own aquaculture facility up on the west coast of Scotland. You'll see it here at Loch Fyne. That's Make, and that is in partnership with a private organisation where we'll do trials in tanks, 12 large tanks, where we can do different camera technologies, etc., and look at what's actually happening in the water as well as feed trials, etc. Just a quick look at our farm network as well. So obviously you see the capabilities map on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, every red dot there is one of our hubs, or what we call a hub. So we've got Make over here. We have the Northern Hub at Easterbush campus in Edinburgh. We've got SRUC Crichton, which unfortunately has just closed because they've moved all their calf facility to Barony, which still we will be involved with. We've got our Midlands Innovation Hub at Harper Adams, where we can incubate SMEs and startups. Sorry, it's gone 2 slides forward. We have Cranfield University, where we have robotics and AI team there, as well as being involved in the soil lab for the whole UK. And then down here at the very bottom, we have the red dot, which is our Southwest Dairy Development Centre at Shepton Mallet. All these white dots that you're seeing on here is our farm network. So as I said at the start, these are privately owned farms or businesses, anything from tenanted farms up to estates and everything in between. We're working with vineyards, soft fruit facilities, right the way through to hill and upland sheep farms, and with everything in between. So there's something there for everybody to be appealed by, and something that everyone can liken to as well when it comes to looking at events on farm and looking at the tech, looking at the farming setups. It's something that everyone can look at. The way our farm networks and our capabilities work, we've obviously got our 4 levels here. So the lowest of the TRL level, so that's technology readiness level, is university research farms. So we'll work alongside Nottingham, Reading, SRUC, Newcastle, farms like this that are taking the first stage of that idea from the drawing board with the SMEs, with the research facilities, and putting it on their farms and testing it at plot level, at small test level, where home office licenses may be required. We then move that, as it moves along that TRL level, we'll move on to the smart farms. So the smart farms is our Southwest Dairy Development Centre and our aquaculture facility. We are looking at setting up a couple other smart farms to look at other parts of the sector as well. Then that comes on to the farm network. So once that product has gone through all that TRL testing at research and then smart farm level, we take it out to the commercial farm network to get the feedback from the farmers that are on the ground, that all of you hopefully in this this seminar, webinar are, where we will get the constructive criticism back on the product that is filling a problem in the marketplace, whether it could be labour saving, animal health, crop health, anything like that, where there is an issue that we need to resolve. Sorry, and we get that feedback from the farmers on the ground to help make that product the best it can be to go out to the commercial market, so that when other farmers are looking to adopt it, there's as little problem with it as possible, that it should fit into most, if not all, farming practices. Yes, all farms are different, but we're trying to get it so it's a kind of ballpark figure product that it can work on most farms. Then we go on to the farm community commercial side of things. So that's once the product is commercialized, we are looking for farms to join this free community where we can show off products, invite you to events, invite you to take part in surveys, invite you to come on farm and see the products, give even more feedback. Because one of the worst things that we all do, and we're all farmers in this room, I think, is that once we have a product on farm, if it doesn't work, we put it on the shelf and we forget about it. Or we go down the pub and we badmouth it to our mates, and that's the end of it. We never give feedback to the companies the way we should to better the product, to make it better for us as an industry. We'll never even go back to the company with good criticism, or good constructive criticism, I should say. We always just give up with the idea if it's not working, or if it is working, we just get on with it and don't say anything. Where companies would like that information back so they can improve it even more, even if it is good. So if there are these little things, feed it back, because they'll be able to improve the product even more. What we do, so test, trial, and demonstrate. I'll take the first one on this. Emma's going to do the next two. So what we're doing with our farm network is test, trial, and demonstrate. So we're testing that product on farm. It's exactly what it says in the tin. We're trialing it. We're putting it in once it's ready. We're trialing it on the farms, getting as much data back, as much feedback back on the product itself. And then we're demonstrating it. We're having events on farm where other farmers, other businesses, other agri-tech companies can come in, see the data that's been pulled from these products, see how easy it is to fit onto equipment, see how easy it is to even just fit into your farm and business, but also look at the return on investment on that product. Look at where it's saving you time and money on labour or inputs for a wider one, but even where it could be helping improve health and safety. We're in one of the most dangerous jobs in the world here. If we can make it safer and healthier for you to be working in, let's do it. Let's look at it. But it's not always just for the person. It could be for the health and safety of the animal as well. So that's what we're doing there on the test, trial, and demonstrate. Emma, I'll pass on to you now.
Yeah, so sector growth, we're aiming here to build a supportive environment that accelerates agri-tech innovation and ensures that new solutions can reach the open market. So key actions in this sort of area is to reduce barriers to adoption, so address regulatory complexities and streamline approval processes for new technologies. We're also looking at improving access to demonstration farms, as Ross has highlighted with our farm network, alongside real-world testing environments. We're also strengthening collaboration, so again through the farm network, fostering partnership not only between farmers but also innovators, academia and policymakers, and creating multi-stakeholder platforms for knowledge exchange and co-design. We're also looking at expanding innovation hubs and test beds across the UK, which hopefully will attract private and public investment to scale new and emerging technologies that provide solutions to the agricultural sector. We're also looking at skills and capability development and market readiness support as well. Alongside that, we also are looking at agri-tech business support, so empowering UK SMEs. And our goal here is to enable small and medium-sized agri-tech enterprises to successfully deliver solutions from concept to market. So we're looking at creating access to expertise, so connecting SMEs with technical specialists in engineering, biology and data science. We're also looking to facilitate access to Innovate UK grants, DEFRA schemes and private investment, alongside providing support for writing bids and managing grant compliance as well. We're also looking to help SMEs navigate intellectual property, licensing, regulatory requirements, and offering market intelligence and export advice for scaling internationally as well. We also do a little bit of matchmaking, so opportunities with farmers, processors, and retailers. We find that a lot of people come to us, and we're quite good at putting people together. But all in all, we're looking to accelerate innovation and provide a platform to incubate and accelerate programs tailored to the agricultural sector. Next slide, please. I think I'm doing the next one, aren't I?
Sure.
Brilliant. So why does bridging the gap matter? So there are quite a lot of barriers to agricultural innovation, whether that's high cost, lack of access to finance, perceived risks, and limited knowledge transfer, which can hinder adoption of new farming technologies. So whether that's people don't actually know that the tech is out there, it might not have a huge amount of commercial viability. So if it's not popular, a lot of people tend to avoid it. So we're looking at improving the proof of commercial viability through our farm network. But also innovators do require real world feedback to improve their solutions and make sure that once that product goes to market, they have a product that's going to work on farm. So at UKTC, we're fostering testing, validation and scaling of innovations, as you've heard, through our networks and collaborative projects. So hopefully we can bridge the gap, which will accelerate adoption, reduce risk as well when it gets to farm, and strengthen our leadership in agri-tech as well. Next slide, please, Ross. So core themes driving innovation, a lot of this has sort of filtered down from UK government policy. So that's how we're sort of tailoring things at the moment, as well as addressing on-farm issues. So sustainable production, a lot of agricultural policy now is focused on sustainability and long-term environmental health. So focusing on regenerative practices and resource efficiency, especially to ensure long-term agricultural sustainability. We also have the One Health concept, which is addressing interconnected health of humans, animals and ecosystems to promote overall well-being and prevent diseases as well. And overall looking to empower resilient food systems. So food security is a huge issue at the moment, especially due to international unrest. So strengthening supply chains and ensuring that those international changing conditions and changing markets have reduced impact on our food systems. So we've also got intelligent agriculture and AI, which is driving innovation as well. So AI has come on leaps and bounds, and we're looking to leverage data, robotics to transform farming operations, but also boost productivity and efficiency on farm in the future. Well, next slide, please.
This is my one.
I think.
So just, I mean, this slide here just shows some of the funding that is available for tech companies. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of you in here are farmers. There are, funding pots available for farmers to lead in projects. I think we've actually got a slide on that in a minute, so I'll hold off. If not, I can pick it up at the end. So obviously, these pots of money have been put aside mainly by Innovate UK, who are largely pushed by DEFRA and where to go. But these pots of money, if it doesn't say farming above it, it is open to everybody in any industry in the UK. So obviously the first one is a prime one. That one actually just closed, I think it was on the 3rd of December, and myself and Emma did have several projects in for that. And these projects, although we can't say much about them, they could be looking at anything from biostimulants right the way through to automatic weighing or animal health. It could be very, very varied. So the Farm Innovation Programme provides, it's all feasibility. So it's that first proof of concept kind of project before it can then go into a small research and development project or a large research and development project, or it fails, which it can happen. And we have seen it several times that it will happen. We've then got the Innovate UK Spark Awards. So this is one for SMEs, and some farms can fit into this if they have invented something of their own and it could fit into the marketplace. So the idea of this is to take a product that is at that later TRL stage in its life, closer to the marketplace, where they get money to come and spend with like an organization like us that can go and put it onto our commercial farms and get a validation piece of work done, so that it's not just a sales point coming from your own company saying, this is great, this is amazing, it does this. We will give that third party validation. Now that was £20,000, I think it was, which would give you quite a bit of work actually, but it gives that validation and sales point for the product once the testing's done. It might put you back to the drawing board to redevelop something. It might take you over that line just to get it commercialized. So it's all about there. There's support and guidance processes as well. So at the UKTC, we actually help these companies and farmers, if they come to us as well, take that step, and we will help with the whole bid writing process. We will get it right the way through, build the partnerships, build that actual consortium of people that they need to have in the project to make it the best it can be. Now, these projects can be anything from 15,000 up to 10 million. I've never seen a 10 million one yet. The biggest I've seen is 1.3, and that was a really good project, and it went to a second stage project, and it's now a product that is on the marketplace, and we'll talk about that later. So we can help, like Emma said earlier, we can match make. We are not Tinder, but we will help people match in the right places. We can't find you a wife or a husband, I'm sorry, but we will do as much as we can to get you the right people to be in that project to build that consortium. And then there's the financial impact. So funding ranging from 50,000 to 3 million. Obviously, that funding on that level is match funding, so you would have to pay out 70% on that, depending on the project funding and how big your organisation is. So if you put in 100,000, you get 70,000 back. That 30,000 that you spend out of your own pocket can and will be, you could get R&D tax credits on it as well, and I think that's at 30%, so you then get 30% of 30%. So there is ways of getting even more money back and helping that R&D, that product. And obviously, the more money that the government is putting into these kind of projects is allowing these companies to produce the product at a lot cheaper price, to develop the product at a much cheaper price, and then bringing it into the marketplace at a much cheaper price, because that R&D is always the most expensive bit. To give you an idea, John Deere spends $365 million a day just on agricultural R&D. We've only done 120 million in 5 years, and all the different projects we do. So it does add up a lot, and what you can see coming through that sector. Emma.
Yeah, so our Grow Your Own Way campaign is a flagship initiative that we launched in late November, so last month, and it has a purpose of championing innovation in agriculture and showcasing real-world impact, but also demonstrating how we at UKATC can support agri-tech businesses to scale and succeed. So the core objectives of this campaign is to accelerate commercialization, so help agri-tech solutions move from concept to market, enable widespread adoption, so supporting on-farm trials and validation, ensuring technologies are actually fit for purpose when they do get to farm. We're also looking at driving UK economic growth, so creating jobs, attracting investment, and helping to build a resilient, sustainable agricultural sector. And we'll also be looking at policy engagement, so not only shaping sector growth, but also influencing government priorities in the future. So our key themes are innovation showcases, which spotlight trailblazers in AI, robotics, advanced sensors and controlled environment agriculture. We're also looking at business support, so providing SMEs with access to expertise, facilities and networks, and also sector growth, so addressing barriers that are preventing new innovations from reaching the market. And hopefully you will follow along with this campaign. We're hosting a growth week in the first week of February next year. So there'll be a lot of online and in-person events happening. So hopefully you can follow along and possibly sign up to some of those. But yeah, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea about our Grow Your Own Way campaign, and I can drop some stuff in the chat so you can keep up to date with what's going on with that.
Back to me again. Sorry, guys. So just a bit again on a bit more of what we can offer. So, like again, we can do the test and trial networks, access our commercial farms, but we've also got the access to the research farms. These research farms and commercial farms might be owned by other organisations, but we own a lot of the assets that they are using on the facilities. So, for example, at one of my farms, we've put in several different livestock feeding pieces of feeding equipment. It could be a mixer wagon with full Digistar setup, over the air data sending, etc. Feed bins, so that we can actually do feed trials and monitor the intake per animal rather than as a group. But we know exactly the mix that's going in. It might be that we're adding in an alternative protein, so we need to do a trial, whether it's a 15% mix or a 10% mix. We can do all that kind of stuff. So this is the kind of technologies we're putting out there. All these technologies we are putting on farm are commercially available on the marketplace, but we are investing in these so we can do these extra pieces of work to bring the sector forward. Training and technical advice. We can offer training workshops and technical support to help farmers. Where last year we had 3 farm walks, I think it was, on 3 of our commercial farms. All 3 hit capacity of how many people we were allowed on farm per day, which was great. We had people from industry, we had people, we had farmers there, but we also brought in levy bodies, government, etc., to come and speak at the event, so that you, the farmers, could feed back to them what the problems were in the marketplace, where there was gaps, where there was issues with adoption, etc., of getting these technology on farm. There's loads and loads of surveys being done by all the different organisations. Most of it comes down to the investment cost of the product, so the ROI, the return on investment, or rural connectivity. We all hear it. They're promising us rural broadband. I'm one of the lucky ones. I've now got fibre broadband. Yes, up in Scotland we do have fibre. Emma's down in Wales and she doesn't have it. Most of you are probably still sitting there trying to get fibre broadband from the box up to your farm as well. I'm just lucky because the box is outside my house. I'm very lucky. But this is the thing. There are other options rather than fibre broadband that may offer you something at a higher speed than fibre and for less money. But this is where we come in. We can put you in touch with these companies, and we're not brand specific either. We are neutral. So if you come to us and say, I prefer John Deere and I prefer this, yeah, we'll go with you on that. If you want to stick with that brand, we'll try and help you along the way. We'll help try and get you technology that fits with that. Or if you want to change, we'll kind of offer advice on that as well. So feel free to come to us. Our emails will be available at the end of this as well. That's something I do quite regularly, is speak to people about different technologies. It also helps us give that advice through our social media platforms. I see Joe Seals is on here. If it is the real Joe Seals, he does a lot of YouTube and videos, TikTok, etc., showing off some of the new stuff he's purchased on farm. And some of that is state of the art. The new tree lay feeder. It's got a lot of stuff on it, and it can do a lot more than what a lot of people might think. There's a lot more that these pieces of tech can do. Unless you speak to the right person, you can learn more about the product. Innovation and adoption support, exactly the same. So we've got the Adopt Support Hub. Adopt is a new initiative that started, I think it was April, I think it started, Emma, but then. So Adopt is a funding competition that farmers can enter, where they may have seen or have an idea, or may have seen something in another country while on travels that they think could work in their farming practice. You can build that together as a project with a consortium of other businesses, another farmer that you want to partner up with. And go for funding to get that product on your farm, to test it, trial it, demonstrate it yourself with the funding of the government. Now, if it works and you are funded, you will be able to, a part of it is hosting an event on your farm, doing some videos and things like that, where you show off the product and how it's working for you and the benefit of it. Now, obviously, the best way that farmers learn about product is peer-to-peer. That's the whole idea of the funding as well, is that one farmer is showing the other farmers how it's working for them, and that is normally the way others will adopt. So I could put the link in at the end as well for that Adopt Support Hub. We are actually a part of that. We are doing the knowledge exchange side and the dissemination. So that is with DEFRA, the Soil Association, NIAB and us, I think it is, off the top of my head. I'm not physically involved with it, hence why I was struggling with who were all in it. But there are some other people in our organisation that are coordinators, etc., helping in the project. Then we've got sustainability and resilience. So our farmer-centric approach is to accelerate technology adoption. Obviously, the whole idea of technology and the adoption of technology is to make British farming and world farming more sustainable. There's technologies out in different countries that we have never seen before here, that we could be bringing back and making work here. Now, that's where we've been lucky enough that we've got to go out and see what's missing out, what they've got out there that's missing in our area, but there's stuff out there that's missing that we've got as well. So there's this whole trading thing going on as well. But all this technology is there to help farming move forward with the times. I can't remember who's got this slide. This is me again. So we mean business is a new thing that they've come up with now. So we obviously help empower businesses. We help one-person startups. We help SMEs. Now, an SME is anything under 150 members of staff. The companies that we are helping are UK registered companies. If you want to activate and access the money that the UK government is offering up to make these technologies, make these innovations to help British farming, you have to be a UK registered company. But as you can see on that slide, there's anything from robotics, revolutionising horticulture. So that could be weeding, it could be planting, your farm droids, your light weeder, things like that. That's more sustainable, can run 24/7, and still falls within legislation and regulation for working in the UK farming practice. We've got AI-powered crop diagnostics. So that could be anything from spore sensors to even just cameras, satellite imagery, looking at your crop, where we'll be working on a project with that to validate the actual satellite imagery with the real life situation in the field. One project I can talk about is the project with Messium, where we're looking at satellite imagery to determine when the best times to spread your fertilizer and at what rate and what kind of fertilizer you need to put on your wheat or your winter barley. Now, a lot of the work that we're doing in the validation of this is actually taking biomass tissue samples of the crop as it's growing, but also soil samples, but doing it 10 days before the spreading date. So it does revolve around a click of the finger and you have to go and test. But the information we're getting back off of that product has actually helped increase the yield. I don't have the exact figures on the increase in yield, but it is there. But it's increased the yield and lowered the costs, the input costs of the fertilizer, if it needed to get any at that time. So that's obviously helped with that. And that is one big thing that obviously when it comes to reducing the amounts of pesticides and fungicides, etc., that you're using, these diagnostic tools are working. It's the same with spot spraying. There's spot sprayers in the UK. There's one manufactured not far away from me and designed not that far away from me. It's only doing grassland at the moment, but the AI is there and they're building the data set up to make it do green on green spraying in arable crops where it might be able to spray black grass, etc. So it is coming. And then you've got AI transforming livestock sustainability. That could be anything from cameras looking at feet of cattle coming out of the footbath in a dairy setup where it's looking at dermatitis. It could be looking at body condition scoring, identifying the animal from above just using the colours. It can be automatic weighing of the cattle or the sheep where you can identify health problems. If they're starting to lose weight over a certain period of time, there's something wrong. It's just bringing all these technologies onto farm to allow you to identify something earlier, but also to allow you to make data-led decisions. But all these technologies come that you still require to be on the ball and actually check the animals. It doesn't do the injecting, etc. for you. If it beeps up and says there's something wrong with the animal, you still have to check it. And that's one thing to bear in mind. The growth. So at the moment, we're incubating 52 companies across our various different departments and hubs. 85 SMEs engaged through R&D commercial projects. Now, this is just in the past 18 months since UK Agri-Tech Centre started. We've got over 300 businesses supported by the UK Agri-Tech Centre. That could be anything from a webinar like this with ABP, who we obviously speak with quite a lot, right up to your Sainsbury's, down to your Arlas, to manufacturers of technology. That could be Chirrup, AgriSense, these people like that. 152 businesses using our capabilities and the farm network using in 31 projects. So out of those 300 businesses that are supported, 152 have gone into projects where our farm network has been a part of the project. It's not always at that stage, it could be research led, but that's 152 companies using our farm commercial network. And then in that time, we've had £12 million of private funding secured by businesses working with us. So that is total pot. So that includes any partner in that project, so total projects. So if a project's getting £1 million, which not all of them do, we would have 12 of them. But we've had a lot more because obviously there's small projects at 15,000, there's projects up at 100,000. So there's a lot more than that happening. And this is just in the last 18 months, all empowering the agri-tech sector to help the agricultural sector move forward, and the aquaculture sector, I should add in. This is your one, Emma. Sorry.
I think it is. Yeah.
Throw you under the bus.
So challenges for UK and global agriculture. So there's a few facts and figures there, but also climate change and extreme weather. So I'm sure it hasn't bypassed any of you, the erratic weather patterns that we're all now facing, flooding and droughts. And in 2024 and 2025, we saw some of the worst harvests on record, with a huge increase in crop losses due to waterlogged soils and heat waves as well. So vegetable yields were down by 4.9%, and fruit production also fell by 12%, resulting in a huge economic loss and financial strain on the industry. We've also got economic pressures and profitability. So farm margins are under strain due to volatile input costs, so fertilizer, energy, including extreme price fluctuations as well. We've also seen labour costs rise by 27% since 2019, which is squeezing profitability further, with a huge number of agricultural businesses reporting cash flow challenges as well. Not only that, we're also struggling with seasonal and skilled labour shortages, which was obviously worsened by post-Brexit migration changes. The seasonal worker scheme extension of 2025 did provide 43,000 workers, but long-term solutions are still unclear. We've also got policy and subsidy reform. So the move from CAP to ELMS in England, the development of a new agricultural scheme in Wales, and also in Scotland as well, although moving at a glacial pace. I'm sure Ross will concur.
Totally agree.
And changes in Northern Ireland as well, but also inheritance tax changes, subsidy cut-offs, and succession planning are playing a huge role in future-proofing farm businesses. Not only that, we've also got disease and biosecurity risks. So there's a reduced availability of plant protection products, and we're seeing a lot more antibiotic resistance and anthelmintic resistance in the livestock sector. We're also seeing that endemic livestock diseases are currently costing the UK sector around 290 to 500 million pounds annually. Not only that, but we're also seeing a huge amount of crop yield losses from pests and diseases, and livestock production losses as well. UK government policy are also putting a huge strain on sustainability and net zero targets. So UK agriculture does contribute significantly to the UK greenhouse gas emissions, and there is a huge amount of pressure now to adopt regenerative farming, carbon sequestration and biodiversity measures in the future. We've also got supply chain fragility. The UK imports nearly 40% of its food, which does make us very vulnerable to global shocks, which we saw quite significantly with fertilizer prices when Russia invaded the Ukraine. We're also still struggling with Brexit trade barriers, geopolitical tensions, and price volatility, which all threaten food security. Not only that, but we're struggling as well with mental health and well-being. So nearly 60% of farmers say that work negatively impacts their mental health. But hopefully we are looking towards emerging opportunities for agri-tech. So adoption with robotics, AI, precision farming, and data-driven tools are key in a lot of areas to improving efficiency. So we're seeing that a lot with labour shortages in the fruit and veg industry. We're also seeing developments in carbon credit schemes, so looking at more efficient ways to measure carbon in soil and more reliable ways as well. And also looking further into diversification, so agritourism, renewable energy, and direct-to-consumer models, which do help offset volatility. And hopefully a lot of the projects that we're collaborating on do address a lot of real world on-farm issues. And hopefully some of these solutions will have long-term impacts, positive impacts on the agricultural industry.
So this is the last slide, just to give you a kind of feel of exactly who we work with, and then we can obviously move on to a question and answer section. So you see it all there on the screen. I'll just go through it briefly, just give you a description or an idea of who these companies are. So you've got your ventures, your SMEs, you've got your small startups, your AgriTrack, your AgSense, your AgriSense, sorry, your Chirrup, people like that. You've got your academic science and research, so that is any of the universities that have got an agricultural department. They are speaking to us, most of which we've done work with or are doing work with now. So that could be your Readings, your Newcastles, your SRUCs, Cambridge, Manchester, you name it, we'll have done some work with them along the lines. You've got your investors and funding agencies. So you've got people that are coming from out with the agri sector who are looking to fund agri-tech companies because they can see a potential in the market of that market growing, because it's something that is niggling away and it just needs that extra oomph. So there are people looking to invest in these products. Several companies that we are working with, we have actually helped them get investment as well in the past year, which has really helped them hit the marketplace. Because the way that Innovate UK funding works for a lot of these funding calls is they won't fund something that's so close to commercialization that just needs that step over, whereas a private investor will. And we've managed to help a lot of them do that. We work with government. Whether they listen to us or not, that's the big thing. You'll all like that answer. The capital grants, we've advised on them. A lot of the ideas I said to do, they didn't do it. So we've done that. International, we're working with several different countries, several different international governments and organisations through the British consulates out there. I was lucky enough to go to Brazil December 23 to go and look at actually what's happening out there. Don't believe everything you see in the press. All the cutting down of the Amazon rainforest is happening in the middle or the north, where the actual farming is not happening. Farmers are paid to keep the Amazon rainforest. Associations, societies and trade bodies, we're working with HDB, your QMSs, your HCCs. We're looking at all these things, your levy bodies. We are working with all these organisations, whether they have a demonstration farm network or they're accessing our network and joining projects with us. NSA, they're always wanting to be either on a steering group or a part of a project with us, which is great. Several of our staff members are actually on the strategic boards for their demonstration networks as well, that are showing off that later commercialized tech that are further down the market route than ours are. Agri supply industry, we're speaking with your Asda's, your Tesco's, etc. Processors and retailers, again, Tesco's, Asda's, Sainsbury's, Arla, Muller, ABP, better say ABP because we're on their webinar today. So you name it, we're speaking to them. And like I said earlier, we're neutral. We speak to everybody. We're state-aid funding. We can't say no to any organisation in the UK. If they are UK funded, we are there to help them. Farmers and agribusinesses. This is why we do webinars like this, for you guys to get the chance to see why we're here, to see the technology we're working with, to hear what's coming, but also for you guys to give us feedback on what is missing in the sector, where the problems lie, because it's maybe not getting to the right channels, whereas we can take it to the companies and say, or we know of a company that's maybe working on something already that's maybe a few years away yet, but we've getting people coming to us with a problem. Let's let's speed this process up, get it out to farm testing. And then there's the Catapult network. So that's a part of UK government funded organisations. So you've got your satellite application Catapult, high value manufacturing. These organisations are getting funding in certain areas of the countries. Satellite application Catapult, for example, myself and them have done a bit of work with them around rural connectivity and how we can get 5G devices onto farm and actually working when there's no 5G masts in the area, things like that. So there's all these kind of organisations that are looking to work with agriculture and improve what's there. It's just they need the help from us and you guys as the farmers to get it over the line to the next stage. So that's everything we've got on our slide deck. And there's an email address if you do want to send any questions after or want any information on what we're doing further than this. So I'll hand back to Katie.
Okay, thank you very much to both of you. If anyone's got any questions, you can either use the raise your hand function or type them in the chat. I have got a question, if you don't mind me. So if a farmer's got an idea of something that would help them, could they just email in to speak to somebody and give that suggestion across, and then you would obviously, I guess you'd then say what that next steps would be?
So depending on what the idea was, this is where the Adopt Hub could come in. So I've put that in the chat. So if you do have a good idea, speak with the Adopt Hub. Our colleagues Wallace Curry and Tom Slattery are both the leaders from our organisation for that. Have a chat with them. See if there's anyone else has gone for that funding and that style of project, or to see if there's actually anybody else doing it in the UK already. If not, this is where we can let you bring you in to collaborate with the company, so they're not taking away your intellectual property. So there's quite a bit on that. But if a farmer has an idea, don't just throw it out there. We can put you in touch with the right people, and rather than giving away your IP.
Okay, fab, thank you. When I send around the link after this, I will put the links obviously to the email address and the links that you've sent around. So I'll send those around to everybody. There's a question in the chat from Carl. Can you elaborate? I can't even speak. Put my teeth back in. Elaborate more on body condition scoring technology. And I think Carl's spoken to me about this before, saying it'd be good if you could run the animals through the crush and it would be able to sort of score them for you and say whether they're fit to go, or you know, I guess along with weighing them, whether there's technology out there for that.
Yeah, so there is commercially available technology for this. It's very early stage in the commercial market. There is one that I've actually worked on personally with an organisation that has been bought over by ABP. We did that trial on farm 3 years ago for 2 years solid. The problem with body condition scoring in fat animals when you put them into a cattle crate is them standing still long enough to get the image. So obviously when they are jumping about in that cattle crate, that cattle crush, or if it's a squeeze crate, you can obviously adjust the body condition image with it. The one thing that we did use was we put it into a static weighing system where an animal came in to have a drink. And obviously with the camera based up high, the animal being stress-free, we managed to get a really good clear image of the animal every time. Now we were getting images up to 12 times a day, depending on the diet. Now, obviously you will see the bloat in and out of the day, but you will get the weights to correspond with that body condition score. There are other cameras available if you look into the dairy sector that'll get an image of the cow as she's coming through the foot bath, or when she's actually standing in the robot, because these are the times that there's nothing closing in on them. They're stress-free and they're moving it. They're either still or moving at the slowest point. For cattle crates, there's still a lot of work to be done on that to get the good image.
And I guess it's also, there's a difference between body condition scoring your suckler cows than selecting animals for ideal fine finish.
There are cameras out there that can tell you the weight of a pig down to 200 grams accuracy, because of how dense the pig is and because of how uniform they are. It's the same camera, but it can do it down to 200 grams, which is obviously very, very accurate. But when it comes to cattle, they could be 80 kilos either way of their true weight, depending on the size of the animal itself, between bladder, gut, and bowel fill. So there's quite a vary in it. So we have tried the weighing with that, but it just wasn't accurate enough.
Okay, thank you. Question from Paul: is funding available to farmers and companies in NI with product concepts and development ideas?
I would have to double check that. The Adopt funding that I've spoken about already is to be led by English farmers because it has been funded by DEFRA, but a Northern Irish, Scottish or Welsh farmer can partner with them. I would have to look into that funding because of the devolved nations. It all depends on that. So I can't give you a full answer on that, but feel free to email me and I can look into that for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll ping that one across to you, and then hopefully I can add that in when I send things around. Has anybody else got any other questions? Or have they stunned you to silence, or are you all thinking of ideas that you're wondering if they're out there already, or has anyone got any ideas?
Joe Seals is away to press off mute, look.
Yeah. Go on then, Joe.
Yeah, it is me, Ross. Yeah, I'd seen a class loading shovel on TikTok earlier that was driving itself and loading a mixer wagon. Like, is there any sort of stuff like that coming through? Because that looked like the ideal solution to me.
There's obviously robotic tractors hitting the market now, like your ag seed, things like that. The problem you've still got is your health and safety and your regulation that's still kicking about. You can leave the robotic tractors in the field working, but technically someone should actually be watching it. It's the same as your drones. You should have direct line of sight. But at the moment, we've got robotic feeders. I mean, the brand of feed wagon you use, I watch your videos. Jamie's trying to sell me a robotic feeder for our dairy down in Glastonbury, but it's going to have to be re-engineer the whole building. So I mean, they can work by themselves, but they're either on a rail or still connected somewhere for. It would all come down to the regulation. I've not actually seen that class load and shovel, so if you want to share that, I'll have a look at it, because it'd be quite interesting to see that, because obviously it is a moving product. It is moving about from various different parts of the farm. I don't know what the regulations are on that personally myself. I would have to look into that. That would actually fall under our robotics and AI team that look into that kind of stuff. But that would be interesting. Would be interesting to see that.
So do you come up against like the regulations and trying to change those as an organisation?
Yeah, we've been banging our heads against the brick wall about the drone one because there's so much drones could do. There's claims that there's not enough data to support relaxing the rules around it, but we can get data from other countries, and we've got loads of data here. And it's like, so you're spraying or your fertilizer spraying with drones in this country. You can't do it unless you've got a special license or special permissions from the CAA. Now, most of us in the farms team are all CAA pilots for trialing things on farm, but we are not allowed to do any spraying because as a specialised license, you need to do that. Even spraying water through the drone for a test, you're not allowed to do it. You have to get a special license, and it can take up to about a year to get it as well in certain instances. And in that case, a project could be finished, depending on what it is. And it's making it very, very difficult. The fact that other countries, you could lift 24 drones up at the side of a field and they can go and do 60 acres in seconds, and we can't even do it with one. We have a fleet of drones ready to do projects, but we can't get the licenses to do it. So that is a big regulation thing. There's a lot of regulation around. I mean, Emma's seen this as well. We've been writing a few bids now around even just ear tag technology, because you're only allowed a certain amount of tags in the animal's ear. You're going to have to start adding tags to other tags or adding them to collars, and then the read rate might not be as good. There's a lot of regulation slowing things down or stopping things coming to market.
I mean, we've not even got EID tags yet, have we? So
no, we
mandatory.
don't.
Maybe in Scotland you have, but
no, we don't. It's not mandatory in Scotland yet. If it had happened in 2018, like they said it was going to do, it would have been an absolute disaster. We're still that's the royal we. They are still trialing the UHF tags on farm, and I've got personal experience with it, and I would stick with low frequency. I was asked along to several different steering group meetings about it, and the amount of problems that they were having with UHF, and I've seen it firsthand in projects trialing it. Low frequency tags you can put in your hand and it can read through your hand, an ultra high frequency, you put a little bit of hair in front of that foil inside that tag, or a bit of dirt, a bit of muck or wet on that tag, it won't read it. Yes, it could read at wide ranges, but it is being driven by processors, markets to do batch reading. Whereas farmers only need to read one animal at a time, because that's where your individual data comes from each animal. So I mean, I argue against that all the time, but they've still not come to the decision, and we're now in 2025 and they've still not made a decision in Scotland. But England, you're going down low frequency, so is that going to force Scotland to go low frequency as well? I just don't know. Brazil, South American countries are all working low frequency with no problems at all, and they've got, I mean, Brazil's 208 million head of cattle, all with low frequency tags in them. Why can we not do it? It doesn't add up, the data that they're given.
Has anybody else got any other questions? If there's no more questions, thank you very much both to Ross and Emma for sharing their expertise and knowledge with us this evening. And if anyone does have any questions that come to mind later on or over the next week or so, obviously I'll send the email address over so that you can send those ideas or thoughts across, and obviously that will get back to Emma and Ross, or you can send them to me and I can send them to Emma and Ross. That's not a problem. But thank you very much for giving up your time this evening, everybody, and I hope you have a lovely Christmas. And the next webinar will be in the new year on the Wednesday, the first Wednesday in January. So I hope you all have a nice Christmas, and we'll see you all in January. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Cheers. Thank you.